Hello, this is Peter Levesque. It is Sunday, May 18th, and I'm back from Harrison Hot Springs, but not all the way back home to Ottawa yet. I'm in Vancouver at the Sheraton Wall Centre, here for one more night before I take a flight back to Ottawa tomorrow morning. This is a very busy weekend, lots of discussions. You heard some of my comments over the last couple of days. I didn't make a post last night because I was just exhausted. But overall, the discussions around knowledge mobilization at this invitational seminar were very interesting, and they really allowed me to think through some of my own thoughts and my own positions about knowledge mobilization and what needs to be done. And so if any of the people who are in the meeting are listening to this, I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge, and also thank you for the opportunity for me to reflect upon what I know. It occurred to me during our discussions yesterday that the Transtheoretical model of change by James Prochaska might be a useful way of thinking about where individuals and organizations and institutions are in terms of readiness for change, in terms of implementing knowledge mobilization programs and activities. This model is essentially made up of 6 steps. So pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and termination, where in some of the literature I've looked, the termination would be that they no longer call it knowledge management or knowledge transfer or knowledge exchange, but it's actually just part of a regular management process, and I think that it's no longer something special but fully integrated into their programs. I think there are very few places that are in that right now, but it's an interesting model to look at, and I think it's something that should be explored some more, and it's something that I'm going to look at. There were lots of comments that were made, and because we're following the Chatham House rule, I'm not saying anything about what any particular person said or even who they were or where they were from. But it seems to me, from my perspective, that there needs to be greater specialization. There's a lot of generalized comments about what knowledge mobilization is, who should be doing it, what are the benefits for doing it. But I think, frankly, there are people who are better in that entire value chain at doing some things over others, and so need to collaborate more with partners that can actually bring about value. I think there needs to be appropriate leadership, appropriate infrastructure, appropriate incentives, and appropriate training to support the activities and the processes and the procedures of knowledge mobilization. It's clear to me that there needs to be capital investments in the building of all of this, the training of people, the building of infrastructure, the creation of spaces, the convening of spaces, and the engaging in processes that lead to greater value production from what we know, whether that is in administrative programs, policy work, whether it's at a regional, provincial, state, federal, international government body. The need for capital, I think, comes out of the arguments that I heard the former Minister of Industry in Canada, John Godfrey, and a consultant, Don McLean, make in a book they entitled The Canada We Want. And they suggested that we had spent a lot of time building infrastructure, physical infrastructure, education infrastructure, research infrastructure, but we really don't have an infrastructure that supports knowledge mobilization. And I think we're at the point where we're starting to see what that infrastructure will look like. But we need to make capital investments. If we're going to have this happen on a regular, systematic way, we have to invest in it. So there's a number of actions I think that follow from my reflections and from this experience. I think that there are ways that my company, Knowledge Mobilization Works, can partner with other people and organizations and institutions in providing training. And I think I'm going to put together a business plan that explores some of that ability here in Canada. I think that we need to look at strategic areas where there's going to be wider impact. I think that early childhood education is an area where knowledge mobilization, when it's put into policies and programs and activities on a day-to-day basis, are going to have long-term payouts for our society. There's some good evidence to support this. There is some contrary evidence to it. However, at the end of the day, I think I'm going to let the research experts argue about the evidence and begin a political process of saying how do we invest in knowledge mobilization to support effective early childhood education. So this was an important event. I personally learned a lot. I'm incredibly appreciative for all that I heard and for the invitation to participate. I think that there is an awful lot of work that has been done that isn't well shared, which is ironic that it's knowledge on knowledge mobilization, but it hasn't been mobilized. I think that there needs to be a cadre of people that are dedicated to doing this, and I think that a lot of the agencies that are currently thinking about it need to figure out where their specialty is, focus on that specialty, and engage in meaningful long-term partnerships with others that can help fulfill the mutual mandates. So this is the end of this video blog for this event, but there will be more coming about knowledge mobilization as I explore various aspects of it over the coming days, weeks, months, years. So this is Peter Levesque. It's Sunday, May 18th, and I hope to talk to you soon. Cheers.